Sheila, sure.
Was still just a quick one. Was still on the identifying which friends that you can call mature friends that can help you go through something and you're able to open up, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, um, I have learned one thing that has helped me through a lot of things,
Yeah.
which is understanding who a friend is. When you go to university, you need to understand that it's either you're going to make actual true friends or you're just going to have classmates that you are misplacing as friends.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's a difference between an actual friend and someone who's just from your class that you talk to obviously and make jokes and talk on WhatsApp and go out with, and you're misplacing that identity that they're your friends when they're not, right?
Yeah.
So how do you identify an actual mature person that will be a safe haven, someone that you can give information and they will seal it and close it and not reveal it to the next person? Because the issue that is there right now is the fact that there is no trustworthy person that mostly people go to.
Yeah.
Like, imagine coming to me and telling me something that you're going through, but because we have that circle that this one knows that one. So whatever you tell me, I tell the next person and the next person, and then it ends up continuing to injure your mental health.
Yeah.
And then I believe the mind is the engine of the
Yeah.
body. It's like a car without a battery.
Yeah.
If your car does not have a battery, it will not operate. So when you begin to understand properly that these are not my friends, these are friends that are these are acquaintances in this particular section of my life.
Yeah.
And these are actual people that I can look up to and go to take my situations and be able to seal it. But it starts with, can you yourself seal information? Can you be a safe haven before you require another person to be a safe haven? Can you learn to defeat the mind so that the mind does not mislead you into thinking because this person talks to you on a daily basis, they're my friends, so I can open up to them? So we need to actually learn to identify actual friends
Amazing.
to acquaintances
Amazing.
and people that we actually relate to, so that you're able to have a safe place for yourself. Because the more you open up to people that will disclose your information, the more torture you get to your mental health. Knowing that everybody's knows about what you're going through, you start feeling some type of way. So it is very important that you classify people in your life so that people don't hurt you more to what you're going through. So for me, I always keep older people as friends. I think my circle of friends should be older people. Most of them are older, like, 28, 30, people that have had experiences that relate to what I'm going through. For example, someone that might have gone through a certain heartbreak at a certain point, and they know how to deal with it. So because they experienced that, they're able to guide you smoothly, and also avoiding the same circle of friends has helped me a lot. So yeah, that's my contribution towards the issue about opening up to friends.
Amazing. Amazing. So many points there. So the next thing I want to know is, this is one of the points on the list that I sent, but I think it connects well to the same thing that we just spoke about. So this is the indirect peer pressure. You know, most people just know so much about peer pressure, like the influence that the other friend is putting on you and something like that, which is a mental health or mental illness as well, so to say. But then there's a part where you sort of like feel intimidated by what others have, or say when you sort of like get to focus on your school, which is the essential thing as to why you're in university in the first place. Now there comes a time when your friends are busy with the social life, and let me say they're not, so much careful about what they are doing in university and stuff like that, and you sort of like start finding this uncertainty in between, like paying attention to your school and like just joining the social life. And I call that indirect peer pressure. Now when that begins to kick in and you're in that position, is there such a thing as indirect peer pressure in university, where you feel pressured by just by seeing what your friend has, or how your friend is living their life, or how your friend is just, leading everything that they are leading, or the friends that they have and something like that? Is there such a thing as you just feeling out of place for no reason, just by looking at what your friend is having or doing?
Yeah, so yeah, there is. You do feel pressured when you see people seem to have their lives already figured out while you're still studying, you're still in school.
Yeah.
But then you're the same age with this other person, and this person already has a car.
Yeah.
They already have their life sorted, and then for you you have nothing. You depend on your parents for absolutely everything.
Yeah.
You feel that pressure to try and like make money and then also do well in school. But then how do you do that? Because the more you think about making money, the less you think about school.
Mm-hmm.
That's how a lot of people even drop out,
Yeah.
and that's how we damage our mental health with these same thoughts and these same pressures.
Amazing. Karo, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should recognize that there's also blind following.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, especially in university, I have noticed there's rich kids with poor parents.
Mm-hmm.
You find that a person, when you look at their background,
Yeah.
okay, let me just say you meet your friends for the first time in university, you're all happy and whatnot, and then how they lead their lives in school and how they lead their lives back home is totally different.
Yeah.
They portray a certain lifestyle in school, and then you want to follow what they're doing, and then you find yourself in problems.
Yeah.
And so blind following is very, very common among us peers.
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that should be recognized. If you do not know what you followed at school,
Yeah.
then you will fail, you will either fall pregnant or get sick, and then what's the other point? The point.
Yeah.
I have also noticed that there's people, they may be partying every week, every day, they're drinking, they're doing all these things, and then they're still making it in school.
Mm-hmm.
These are the same people even in high school that we had. They'll tell you, oh, I didn't study.
Yeah.
Then you're also there. You can start story after story. You're not studying, they study when they go back home.
Uh-huh.
So blind following is very, very common nowadays or among peers. And then you do not know how they make that money, because we're all meeting in school. We don't know where we're coming from. And when we come into school, we want to portray a certain lifestyle that our friends would all start thinking, oh my God, this person comes from a well-to-do family, this person is driving. Those things should not move you as long as you are grounded in what you want in school. Yeah. So if we become more rooted and more grounded in the things that we have followed in school, I think there'll be no issue of, oh my gosh, my friend is driving, my friend has iPhone 13, my parents. I think just focus on whatever you have going on in school. And like Delphine said earlier, it's just a matter of identity yes.
Amazing.
Thank you. I'm done.
So I'd like to add one more thing, which is, I think I remember this from grade 8.
Yeah.
So this aspect comes in with the company you keep,
Yeah.
because, okay, one thing I noticed about me is my friends,
Yeah.
So there's this way we talk, and usually it started with one person, and then you end up finding yourself talking like them. But you didn't practice it, you didn't intentionally want to do it, but you ended up doing it because you learned indirectly.
Yeah.
And then this seriously applies to literally anything in life, yeah?
So if you have a company of friends that you feel, okay, sometimes you wouldn't even know that what they're doing is wrong, but then if you just feel like it's not right for you and it's not healthy for you,
Yeah.
you should, like, at the back of your mind, you should know that there is indirect learning. And if you're able to recognize that some of their behaviors you don't like or you can't associate, I feel like you should step back a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, because at the end of the day, we do learn voluntarily and involuntarily. So you might pick up traits that aren't the best for you or traits that wouldn't work best for you. And you find yourself questioning yourself. You find yourself literally questioning yourself, like, who am I? I like this, but then it feels wrong in my heart.
Yeah.
But then you're doing it because your friends were doing it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to add more to that. So the reason why I like the indirect learning, because it's like, I think that's the main reason why I brought about the indirect peer pressure, like indirect peer influence. Because most of the times you notice how we think so much like peer pressure is just when your friend approaches you with something and then they push you into doing it, like smoking and all these other, negative influences and practices and stuff. But there also is a component of just it happening in you the moment you look at other people and how they live their lives, which is a good thing as well that you've brought about the indirect learning. Because indirect learning is like adapting to things that you don't intentionally, wish to, be like, become, or sort of like adapt to in a way that you think you want to. And what that means is that this is how the subconscious kind of works. It's you're in a place where whatever is happening around you is collected, and placed on your subconscious. So the more you sort of like dwell so much in that environment, the more it sort of like starts to become your reality. And you sort of like, you don't even notice how you just find sense in it, but it just begins to happen. So that is like your subconscious now beginning to activate the information that you collect on a daily. You get me? And this is something that most people don't really get. So the best example I would give is, I once had a conversation with a friend who says, whoever has a wrong happening in their life, they intentionally want it to happen. But that's not how it works. The reason why I brought about this conversation about university is because it's the same thing. It's indirect learning most of the time. It's so much of indirect learning most of the times. And this happens a lot because in university, so many people walk in there with different intentions, positive intentions. But when they begin to learn and dwell so much in there, certain things begin to change, and there's indirect peer pressure that takes place. There's, like you said again, indirect learning, and you just begin to find yourself with friends that you didn't even intentionally choose to have. So then the conversation is, how do you even deal with that? Because then your subconscious is the one collecting the information and you're not in control of that. You get it? So it's a good thing that you brought about the indirect learning issue, and it's a good point. So the follow-up question that I would have on that particularly is, so let's say I get into university today, right? And
yeah,
you guys as my friends see me to be so concentrating on school, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
say 8 months down the line, I start taking part in these, social activities that are necessary, taking alcohol, going out so often. What is it that you as a friend of mine, what is it that is expected of you as a friend of mine to do in order for you to help me out of the situation that I just get into?
Yeah, so I think for me, I think Sheila mentioned the point of having mature friends. I think, yeah. So your friends are supposed to be, like, they're supposed to be able to notice that your behavior has changed.
Yeah.
And honestly, they have to question you directly how constructive the activities you are deciding to engage in, like how constructive they are, how are they impacting you, unless like you are doing all these things in secret, because at the end of the day you probably destroy yourself on your own.
Yeah.
But then if your friends are at least firstly able to identify that
some of these activities aren't right, or they're not impacting your life positively, then they can make escape. Like they can actually come and talk to you. And I feel like if these friends are those friends you would initially go to,
Yeah.
you would definitely listen. You know, sometimes we would act like, oh no, like they're just trying to block me from having fun. And there's a lot of that in uni. Like, trust me, there's a lot of that. But then you must also be able to listen. You should have the listening ear that you want your friends to have with you too. So if I feel like as a friend, I would definitely come to you and advise you. Yeah. And if you still want to do it, I feel like the aspect of time management, like Kara said, comes in.
Yeah.
Create time for social activities, but then don't forget why you are here. You're here to study. You're here to pursue your degree, your master's, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, as a friend, I would definitely come up to you and tell you.
Amazing. Say your friend has indirectly learned what they are doing or adapted to the bad habits, right? And you know for sure that this is not how this person is. You know for sure that this person is a kind person, good person, concentrating at school and all that stuff. But then it shows that what they are doing now is not something they intended to be doing, or they just indirectly learned it or adapted to it. Would you take a persevering attitude towards the problem and just say, you know what, I don't care whether you want to leave the place or you don't want to leave it, I'm gonna force you out of it? Would you take that, or would you just like let them continue until they get to a point where they realize they have to walk out of it?
I feel like sometimes letting things go is a bit dangerous, because what happens when your friend gets killed at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
And at the back of your head, you'd be saying, I should have done something, I should have talked to them, or So I feel like the fact that there's learning, there's always unlearning.
Yeah.
So if you've tried, if you've spoken to your friends about, like if you have spoken to your friends about everything else, and you feel like they're not doing a lot to, like they're not trying to come out from whatever situation that they're finding themselves into, or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. You can't really use force, because at the end of the day, it's a choice, you know. But you could put pressure and just help them realize that where they're going is not really a good path.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Grace, sure.
Okay, so yes, I do agree with Delphine. I'll start with force. Forcing your friends to like get out of a bad habit is really dangerous, because you know when you force someone, you make them more rebellious.
Yeah.
When parents try to be super strict and stuff, they always end up having absolutely rebellious children. So it's better if you're like calm with the situation. You know, if someone learns that habit, they can unlearn it. So you just, keep telling them the consequences of their actions day in and out. You know, you don't have to force them. You don't have to argue. Just calmly talk to them about it until they realize that what they're doing is not safe for them.
Amazing. So now, I want to move on to the next point after that, because that one's amazing. So the thing is, let's talk about anxiety for a bit. So the question is about anxiety and performance in university, right? So would you say anxiety plays a huge role in the harmful practices that students take in university?
Okay, so this is from a personal experience, yeah?
Okay.
So I think I don't know if I used to claim or not, but I realized I do have anxiety during the exam, when I had an attack and then I couldn't study. Yeah. So I feel like if you're able to identify some of, I don't think I can call them personality traits, because anxiety is like what? Mental illnesses, right? Yes. So if you're able to identify some of those things early, it's easier for you, and it's easier for you to handle them and seek help also. Yeah. So, but then if you don't, I feel like there's certain extremes, like, so in your head, you're thinking, for the fact that you don't know that you have anxiety. So in your head, you're thinking, oh no, every time I start sweating, I get too nervous, I get like, my heart starts beating fast and stuff like that. You probably, let's say, turn to alcohol, right? And then you say, no, they're going to calm my nerves and stuff like that. I feel like you reach a certain extent where you become dependent on that. And that changes your cycle, honestly, because it's like all the time you feel like that you have to turn to a substance to help you go back to normal. So it does play a role, but then if you're able to identify it on, like, personally, if you're able to identify it, you have like a better fighting chance, because you will know what's going on. You'll be aware of what's going on, and you'll be able to handle it. It's not the easiest, because some of us cry and then so I feel like generally, if you're able to identify what it is and what goes on when you are having, let's say, an anxiety attack or a panic attack, you handle yourself better, and you find more constructive things to help you loosen up or relax.
And I think it doesn't take too long to fight a problem when you notice it, right?
Yeah, that's true.